Stop waiting for things to happen to you and start making them happen for you. For so long, I stood in the back waiting to be recognized. For so long, I had a fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of being seen. But did that actually do me any good? Of course not. As a dancer, determined to improve my skills and grow my opportunities, it only stood in the way of my success, drained my motivation, as well as wasted any potential of becoming successful. Oftentimes, we wait to be invited, chosen, or pushed, but what we fail to recognize is that everybody else is too busy pushing themselves. While you're held back by a lack of confidence and busy overthinking what others might think of you, your colleagues, peers, or competitors are already taking the next step towards their success. While you're held back by a lack of confidence, they are already becoming successful. Therefore, you should stop overthinking what others think of you and start taking action. Now, it is very normal to feel that way, especially because I was once in your shoes. But then I realized delaying is only a waste, making me lose valuable time in which I could have utilized to make progress. It was time I made changes. It was time I stepped in and took control. Therefore, find a problem to solve and take initiative. Contribute in meetings and suggest ideas. Connect with others and build relationships. It is very easy to get trapped in the never-ending cycle of overthinking, specifically overthinking what others might think of you. But you need to find ways for yourself to appear, because I can guarantee that the successful people you look up to and admire the most simply don't care. They are not held back, but rather they are starting. And that is because the opinions we fear the most often come from people who aren't even on the same path as us. This makes the successful people unaffected and unfazed by others' opinions. If they don't care, why should you? Now that we have tackled that others have absolutely no impact on your path to becoming, it is time we tackle the why. Why should we act? Why should we be the ones who take responsibility for our own success? Well, you're only here for so long, so might as well actually become who you want to become and achieve what you believe is calling for you to achieve. A year from now, you will look back on your pictures and journals, and that experience could go one of two ways. One, you feel proud and overjoyed by all the progress you've made, and you see how far you've come from the start point. Or two, you get drowned in regret. Regret that could have been avoided if you just did something, anything. It could be as simple as going somewhere where you were too scared to go, or saying something you thought no one would like. But instead, you locked doors that were once meant to open for you. And we've all probably, at one point in our lives, have heard our parents or grandparents say that they had a big dream of becoming a dancer, an actor, or a baker. And when you ask why that dream never happened, they say something like, "Oh, I wasn't encouraged enough," or "nobody supported me." And just like that, the dream fades with time. And when they see someone of a younger age trying to achieve a similar goal, they do everything in their power to help them. Had their self-motivation been just a bit stronger, maybe they could have achieved that goal for themselves. In one of my weekly dance classes, I stood in the back, like I usually would, because I thought I wasn't worthy enough of being in the front, or it was reserved for better dancers. And then my teacher says something to me, and she takes me by surprise. She says, "If you want to be seen, you have to place yourself where you can be seen." She goes on by explaining that if it weren't for her making herself recognizable, she wouldn't be where she was today, with her own business, traveling the world for dance, as well as teaching nationwide. The following week, I took a dance workshop, and my skills didn't change in a week. But one small thing did: my position. All I did was take one small step forward and stood in the front, next to other amazing dancers. And guess where that landed me? I got the opportunity to be placed front and center when it was time to film, all because I took one small step forward. Many of you here might be overthinking the fact of starting. Maybe you feel not ready. Maybe you feel like it's not the right time. But despite all these assumptions, it does not hide the fact that you can still act. Each and every single one of you here can act today. You can step up, you can speak up, you can show up, you can take responsibility, you can push past hesitation, you can choose growth even when it feels uncomfortable, especially when it feels uncomfortable. Because the only thing standing between you and that goal is one small step forward. Actually, psychologists Thomas Galovich and Victoria Medved have found something really interesting. In the long term, we regret our inactions far more than we regret our actions. Hear me out. Embarrassment, which we make such a big deal out of in the moment, can be learned from, is forgotten, eventually fades with time. But the what-ifs, those, they linger forever. They become a constant rotation in your mind. What if I did that? What if I said this? But at the end of the day, it is your life and it is your choice, whether you're going to act or just wait it out. A year ago, I decided I wanted to become a diverse dancer. Since then, I've attended countless dance workshops, many of which weren't my style and way above my level. At the start, I was very confused and lost. I had no clue what I was doing. But eventually, my confidence grew, and I slowly started figuring out what was for me and what I wanted to focus on more. There's this one workshop that I remember really well. It was a style that I've never taken before, and I just walked in with the mindset of, okay, don't overthink, we're just gonna dance and enjoy. And I stood in the front next to dancers who have dedicated their life towards that style. By the end of class, the teacher approaches me and chooses me among 30 students to join her small dance group and be able to dance on a more rigorous level. Had I not placed myself where I did that day, I wouldn't have opened that opportunity for myself. And I would have been just trapped in the dance style that I only ever knew. But instead, I did not allow myself to be restricted. I opened opportunities for myself. I pushed away every outside voice telling me it was too late or I should have started sooner, and exposed myself to the dance world I never thought I could be part of. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you it was a very easy process. It still is not. I constantly felt demotivated, compared myself to others, as well as thought of quitting, thought of just trapping myself where it felt safe and certain. But success doesn't come from safe. Success doesn't come from hiding your flaws either. It comes from exposing your potential. And I know it can be hard to try and achieve something that the heart desires when your mind is constantly telling you otherwise, and when your mind is constantly feeding you with negative self-talk. And I especially know it can be hard when everything is self-motivated and self-initiated. But especially in those times, especially in those moments, you need to take action. A very common misconception is that being in the front row is egoistic or arrogance or selfishness. But since one has seeking visibility in order to grow, in order to learn, in order to allow your creative choices to inspire others, become arrogance. That is just not the case. On the contrary, it is not being afraid of taking space where you can create change. If you want to accomplish anything on that yearly vision board that you made at the start of the year, change has to start within. Start admiring these people that you secretly judge deep down for being too loud or being too ambitious, because you need to start being like them. If I'm being very honest with you, being shy will not open any doors for you, and that is coming from experience. Keep waiting on someone to push you, and you will, in fact, wait forever. Success doesn't come from being ready. Success comes from starting. Even if it's hard, even if it's scary, even if it's uncomfortable, you have to take initiative. Because maybe, just maybe, the only thing standing between you and that goal is one small step forward, one moment of change, one decision to stop hiding. The difference between the back and the front row isn't talent, it's action. Thank you.